office?
In the field has to have been Flight 1549 when when the plane landed in the Hudson River, the U.S. Airways plane.
So that was the biggest.
That's the biggest that I had responded to with this office, with the Office of Emergency Management.
And what was your job? Well, you're press.
I'm press, so
you kind of have you got to get the word out.
Well, I act as sort of a liaison between the incident command chiefs and with the press.
Right.
Whenever there's an active scene, you're going to have a lot of the press that's going to respond to the scene, looking to get information. So it's my job to be able to sort of keep them back and help to give them real-time information.
Right.
That's accurate and it's timely for them.
Okay, so the plan, I think that's Sullenberger, Captain Sullenberger,
That's
right?
right. Yep, Sully Sullenberger.
Sully. Okay, so the plane goes down. I mean, it was a perfect landing. I mean, it was just like he's written the book on how to land in.
Well, if there was anybody to be, at the helm, it was him. Well, he has a background also, not only with flying commercial airliners, but also I believe it's with gliders also.
Right.
So he was familiar with how to be able to really make a controlled landing, not having any power, not having any speed.
Right. What was the sense of the room when it was happening, and what was it had to be a...
Well, I'll paint the picture for you.
Yeah.
Anytime there's going to be foul weather that's going to be coming through New York City, we have a weather call where it's with the Office of Emergency Management and upwards of 30 different city agencies, and it's organized by us, and it's run by National Weather Service. They will give us a detailed outline as to what we can expect. We actually happen to be on a weather call in our situation room. We had representatives from, again, I believe it was the red team that was up, that were in the situation room, and National Weather Service was giving us an overview as to the snow that we could expect in the coming days. And immediately we began to have a couple of the watch command supervisors that were on duty come into the situation room and whisper into our commissioner's ear and our first deputy commissioner's ear. And at that point, my phone began to ring with members of the media calling me saying, hey, we're hearing reports of a commercial airliner that's landed in the Hudson River. Wow. And so things happened very quickly. We went into watch command. It was confirmed, and I went to the scene with my first deputy commissioner. And we went all the way up to 46th and the West Side Highway, and we could see it floating down the river. Wow. So immediately we started to follow it, and we found ourselves, I believe it was over, was it right around Chelsea Piers, where we walked to, and a command post was set up. And at that point, we're working, when I say we're a coordinating agency, we're thinking about things like it's getting dark. We're going to need lights to be able to see what's going on. We're going to need to we have to tie this aircraft down. Where are we going to tie it down? We're going to eventually need a barge to be able to lift it up. We're going to need a crane. We brought in the Army Corps of Engineers. The Coast Guard was involved. So in the very beginning, OEM helped to coordinate the entire operation. And then it turns over to the National Transportation Safety Board. They come in and they conduct a full-scale investigation. Obviously, we work with them very closely and provide any support that they need.
When you first heard about what happened, were your worst fears? I mean, did you fear the worst? I mean,
I did. I remember vividly. It's funny you say that. I vividly remember walking in the snow. Along the bike path with my first deputy commissioner, and I turned to him and I said, this is going to be a recovery effort, isn't it? And he said, yes, it probably will. And then when we got to the command post, we started to learn that these people were able to walk right out onto the wing, and that the New York Waterways ferry were there within seconds to start bringing people on board their ferries. And it was unbelievable to walk into the holding area where these people were being held and to talk with them. And a lot of them didn't even know what was happening. They were, calmly sitting in their seats. Some were asleep, but they said there really wasn't a whole lot of excitement on board the plane.
I'm sorry. I know there was a gentleman that tried to get out. He was trying to open up the door, so he had to be subdued a little bit. One passenger got a little.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
So this is that was a pretty amazing story.
It was unbelievable, and even the days following, to see a perfectly intact plane being taken out of the Hudson River was astonishing. It was unbelievable to see this plane. There was nothing wrong with it, no structural damage. The rigging company was able to take it out of the water without any issues.
Okay, so you're talking about moving it to the pier, and how did that, bring us through that?
So what happened was it was, the aircraft was traveling south in the on the Hudson River, so they ended up bringing the aircraft over to Battery Park where they were able to tie it down, and then from there, with the help of the Army Corps of Engineers, the Coast Guard, and a rigging company, they were able to get harnesses through the aircraft, and were able to bring it up without it, breaking sort of in the middle. That was the biggest fear, was that the way that they had the harnesses positioned, it was stuck in the mud a little bit, so they were fearful that with the pressure of lifting it up, that it might crack in half. But the plane came up without a problem, and they were able to put it on a barge and take it away.
Okay, I want to go back to 9/11. You said you weren't here you weren't with OEM at 9/11. And as the dust cleared, that's not a pun here, but the whatever the fumes were and what was going on, the fumaroles of what was happening in the site, was that OEM's?
It's hard for me to answer these questions. I wasn't working for the city at the time.
Yeah. So. Now you said something about a situation. Is this the situation room?
No, this is the emergency operations center.
Okay, all right. So
here.
I see a lot of chairs back there. Yep. It kind of looked like a storage area.
No, this is our situation room here. Okay. As you can see, situation room.
Oh, here we are. We're in the situation room now.
So as you can see, we've got the table is equipped where it has built-in microphones. So when we do a conference call, you don't have to actually be on the phone. There's direct mics in every second position, and we've got monitors and cameras set up. So if we have to do a video conference call with another city agency, we have the capabilities of being able to do it.
This is just looks like a little lump.
Yep.
A little lump of whatever at each seat. So this is a situation. Primary agency matrix over here. Unified
this is our SIMS, our citywide incident management system. It's based off of the national model, NIMS. So this outlines and defines who is the incident commander at a specific emergency.
Okay, pull out a couple of highlights here.
Well, aviation incident. The primary agencies is going to be FDNY and NYPD.
And that's what we're talking about. Okay. Okay, you're listening to New York City Visions. Seth just got a phone call, and I'm always afraid that a phone call's going to come in, and we won't be able to finish. We're in the Situation Room right now, and Seth is on the phone. We're at OEM, Office of Emergency Management, here in New York, actually in Brooklyn, and Seth Andrews, who's the Deputy Press Secretary,
correct,
is with OEM. So I think aviation incident, we just went through all that,
sure.
Didn't we? Okay, I'm looking at hostage incident. Let's talk about that a minute.
Well, as it describes, the hostage incident, it would be NYPD.
Okay, fire, of course. Sniper incident, NYPD. You get a lot of snipers? Well, this one I can think of is almost a Son of Sam.
But here, this is interesting. A down tree would be Department of Parks and Recreation and the FDNY.
How they get along? Pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Civil disturbance. That would be Occupy Wall Street.
Could be.
Yep.
As I was explaining to you earlier before, who did I say would be the incident commander?
NYPD.
NYPD. Yep.
Okay.
Again, we are a coordinating agency. We are not cops. We're not firefighters. We're not putting out a fire. We're not saving lives. We let the professionals handle that. We will help to coordinate it, and this is SIMS, Citywide Incident Management System. This is what our office has written to help define who is going to be the incident commander at an emergency. So before the police department, the fire department, whoever it is shows up, it's pre-identified as to who's going to be the incident commander.
Okay, so it's talking on-scene coordination, ensure that a SIMS command structure is in place, ensure that interoperable communications are in use. So you basically
we coordinate it.
You coordinate the whole thing. It looks like you need it.
I'm out of time. No, yeah, I'm out of time. I've got a meeting that I'm already late for, so they were just calling me. Right. No, it's not an emergency meeting, but
it won't be an emergency meeting for at least another 3 minutes.
Well, emergencies, they can happen, at any moment. So
I was thinking to myself, the phone's going to ring sometime during this interview, and my guest is going to have to get going. So that's what I fully expected that, and it actually works.
Sure. Well, it's back to business as usual for me. So
okay. So here we are. We're finishing up in the Situation Room. We're looking at this great expanse of what's happening here. Anything to close out with?
No, I think we've covered. Everything.
And we did it in less than 55 minutes.
Not bad, right?
Not bad at all.
Not bad.
Okay, give the website and any phone numbers that are needed.
Sure. Again, it's to receive any information or to download any of our guides or to sign up for Notify NYC. You can go to www.nyc.gov/OEM or visit us on Facebook, New York City Office of Emergency Management, and sign up.
Okay. Is your meeting about an emergency?
No, it's not about emergency.
Oh, I think I asked that anyway.
Nope.
Okay. You've been listening to New York City Visions. I'm your host and fellow New Yorker for the last 40 minutes, perhaps. Again, we're here in Brooklyn at the Office of Emergency Management, and that's what's happening quiet right now. But you just never know.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay. Again, our guest was Seth Andrews, Deputy Press Secretary, and this man is heading for the door, so we're going to go. Okay, we're going to walk out together. Can we walk out together?
Sure,
I can help. Yeah, we're going to kind of walk. Okay, as a co-worker coming past. Am I being shown the door? Okay, we're going to get up in the elevator. We might as well make the exit.
Sure.
Part of the deal.
No problem.
And what is this now?
Just old photos that they've put up in the building.
That's
it's an old train derailment. It looks like
train derailment. Is that an L? Yeah, it's an L.
Looks like
elevated.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, we're in elevator 3, heading down.
Heading down.
Okay.
Heading down to the first floor.
No smoking.
No smoking in any city building.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it. Seth, if I was still smoking cigarettes today, I'd be holding up banks to pay for them. Oof. In New York City. I mean, $12 a pack in New York City. Holy cow. That's an emergency right there.
Yeah. Well, Herb, thank you. I appreciate you coming.
Okay, I'm going to do this so I can hold on to that.
I'll show you right here to the exit.
And we're big. I knew I was going to get shown the door here. How'd it work out? It was pretty cheery,
good.
Huh?
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
All right, Herb. Thank you.
And thank you, Seth.
Take care. All right.
Have a good day. Okay, we're walking out again. You've been listening to New York City Visions. I'm your host and fellow New Yorker, Herb Malsman. We're heading out of the Office of Emergency Management building here in New York City. We're outside, so at this point, let me just thank you for tuning in today, and see you soon.